It's like they literally have watched channels build up and have built a level of envy and jealousy about them and decided, I'm gonna attack these channels. You know, it's a spirit of envy and jealousy that's really heavy. And and it's sick. It's sick. Moore still ain't answered the question of what's the concept of a traditional marriage, but yet and still he want to attack everybody else. I can't. I'm at that point now where I'm just like, oh, you want to go here? Yeah, you want to go? You want to go here? We can. And I had to catch myself. I really did, because I was about to go there.
Hey, bro,
And
can y'all stop that
giving
for a
them my
minute, please? Hold on, hold on, hold on,
giving
hold
them
on. Can y'all stop that for a minute? Because so it's unfortunate to hear her say that. At least if I get the chance to talk to her, hopefully I'll ask her what she knows is fact. But since this wasn't, I did hear that Dante played, I guess, something from some guy from a Moorish thing that was trying to make an accusation that Orthodox Moor somehow is cool with gays marrying or something because of something he didn't answer or whatever. And I really didn't know what it was, but I didn't believe that whatever it could have been, that it meant that Moore saying, yeah, men should marry men. So, hey, Moore, if you don't mind, bro, can you tell me what that was about? Because this seemed like an ad hom attack that people are running with because Dante tried to shine light on some guy who made this claim against you. What is that all about?
Yeah, and this is the funniest thing in the world. And so Dante tried to run with the false claim that didn't work the first time. Taharka Bey brought it out. Taharka Bey was somebody who was coming at the Israelite community trying to tell them that they needed to rock with the Circle 7 Quran and drop the Bible, and that the Bible was telling them to put foreskins on their heads for healing and all kind of crazy stuff. And so an Israelite told him, well, righteous Moors like the Orthodox Moor don't rock with that type of stuff. And so Taharka Bey lost that debate. And then he proceeded to challenge me to a debate and then forfeit and then leave the debate league we were in. And because he was trying to keep his name clean or keep his image clean, he decided to go on a smear campaign and try to make up some concept. First, he tried to say that I was gay and that he had proof that I was gay. And so he said that the proof that he had that I was gay first was that he had an issue. He said his issue was like that I wanted to bring Europeans into the temple. Basically, I'm not racist, so his issue was that. And so he tried to prove that I was gay by showing pictures of me hanging out with women, and then declaring that I supported advancing homosexual issues. And then he tried to show a video where I was talking about a situation back in 2015, to where I was going over oral arguments from the Supreme Court where they were trying to change the definition of traditional marriage. And so I made a post describing the fact that I do not support changing the definition of traditional marriage because that will have unintended consequences people aren't looking at. And that I was talking about that homosexual people should be looking to make their own definition of a word or go with civil unions. So in that vein, I literally gave them an example, like a word. I created a word called homatrimony, which would be the legal union between homosexuals. It would not be marriage. It was literally not be marriage, because marriage, as I stipulated in the post, which Taharka Bey reads in the video, which Dante reads in his video, I stipulate that marriage is matrimony, which is between a man and a woman. I do not support that definition changing or whatnot. And so at the time, I literally was at the front line of trying to defend traditional marriage or whatnot. And so they keep trying to disparage my stance and stipulate that I'm pro-gay marriage, and literally nothing could be further from the truth. I was trying to defend gay marriage, or to defend traditional marriage's definitions being changed to advance gay marriage, because now we live in a country to where traditional marriage does not exist and has not existed since 2015, and we've seen to where they've exposed us to the LGBT agenda and the transgender concepts based upon what happened. A lot of people don't recognize that what happened with that law, as I was commenting at the time, is that they were legally codifying the concept of people who are same sex can do the same things that people who are heterosexual can do. For instance, the matrimony has the concept of being the rights of the mother. That's what it legally means, i.e. there's children involved and heredity involved, right? So the law literally meant the way it got changed. It meant to say that like a same-sex couple that cannot produce children is the same thing as a couple that can produce children. And from that little change in the law, we've seen them drive a truck through that little door and whatnot, to the point where now we got drag queens having story time with our kids at school and whatnot, right? And so because I had the audacity to try to defend our family, our faith, etc., whatnot, and do kind of like a Daniel kind of a thing. To like, nah, like we do this thing over here, we got to keep it separate or whatnot. They want to flip that to I support gay marriage. And again, an honest reading what was going on, and you can hear Dante and Taharka Bey read it with themselves. That I say with my, and again, you can hear me say it in the video. I don't want the definition of marriage to change. Marriage is matrimony between a man and a woman, etc.
Right. So, in a political sense, what the brother was trying to get across, and I think that most people that listen to that live that he did, was that under the political constraints that we're under, we cannot go back from what they've already posed into law, which is a same-sex marriage. We can't push. We can't. No matter who you vote for, it seems to be a solid stance that the United States Congress is going to stand on. So what do we do? How do we remedy this if we can't turn back the law that they already, we know they're not going to change it back. So my brother paused the way in which we could live under these constraints and keep the sanctity of marriage whole, to keep it separate from what they're trying to impose on matrimony, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So there was a comment, and the reason why I was suspicious is because I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'm sorry, and this damn memeology, gifology, express your entire damn depth of knowledge in 120 characters or less. Age of knowledge that these people talk, the information age, which unfortunately does not equal the age of understanding. Whenever you play something a man said and it's over 4 seconds and you continue to loop that 4 seconds, I know you got something to hide. You are not playing a conversation, you're playing a statement. And the reason you repeat it 5 or 6 times, like you just loop it, is because you want to put into people's heads, hey, y'all heard those words? This is what that guy meant. I didn't trust it. So that's why I wanted to ask more. And that's a very acceptable premise to be on when you're saying, hey, this is what they're defining marriage is as now. So in this society, marriage is not the classical Judeo-Christian definition, even though this country claimed that at one time. Now, marriage is this. And y'all, I got a female cousin who is married to another female. They moved back to New York State from Texas because New York was one of the first states to have legalized marriage for, people of the same gender. So if someone asks me, well, what is marriage now? Well, marriage, according to the secular narrative, is this and it's that. But if you say, well, what is the biblical definition of marriage? Well, I ain't got no problem saying that to you. This is what marriage is to me. And I agree with the word of God. But we also in the age now where, hey, traditional marriage is not just this. It is that, it is that, it is that. So now we have to work within the framework and could even be sometimes persecuted for standing up, saying in spite of what the society has done. And now they're saying that marriage is this and that. I still will tell anyone, as far as I understand, and the God I serve, marriage is between a man and a woman. But to take a 4-second phrase and loop it, that could have been a part of, let's say, a 30-minute exchange.
You're driving the narrative.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, bro. That's not.
And to be 100% clear, the legal framework for what I was proposing would have made it so everyone remembers, like when it first started happening, it's like, oh, there's the transgenders are sharing the bathrooms and whatnot, and it's the same bathroom, this and the third and whatnot. Well, if any one of our kids was going to a public school at that point in time, and now to this day, if they feel uncomfortable with sharing a bathroom with somebody who's transgender, whatnot, our children, based upon their religious beliefs, they get segregated for that. They have to go to a separate area to go change, right? So the legal framework for what I was talking about would have provided the framework for for there to be a third bathroom for a unisex, for a unigender bathroom, to where, again, anybody who was comfortable with that, they could all go to that bathroom, and anybody who was comfortable with the traditional gender roles could change in those bathrooms and whatnot, right? On a separate but equal concept. But that's got to get misconstrued. And here's the return fire question. Like, so what were we supposed to do? Do nothing? Because that, like, and what are you proposing we do now? Like, what's the fix? Because I can go to the scrolls and whatnot. I can see where Joseph had people separate to a whole different city and whatnot, and live separate. Whatnot. I can go to the scrolls and I can see to where Daniel was going to the kings and whatnot and doing things like that. I'm gonna do things my way. I'm gonna pray to my God. I'm gonna do things my way, etc. That's not changing. I'm not eating your food. I'm not praying to your people. Nope, that's not how we're getting down. And we can see in the New Testament where Peter's talking about we got to do things by the law of the land and whatnot, right? And again, so law of the land is traditional marriage don't exist here, fam. So y'all are talking like it exists and like it's in competition to gay marriage. No, fam. Marriage doesn't mean what you think it means in this country anymore. Hence we're seeing what we're seeing. And so their defense is, and this is what all I can surmise is, we're supposed to sit on our hands and wait for this 400-year prophecy and black Jesus to crack the sky and take us back home, etc.
Wait, while grown men can go in the bathroom with your daughter in the same bathroom because he claimed to be a female. Supposed to sit back and don't do anything, don't say anything, don't try to vote, don't try to do anything, just let it happen.
No, you should be more. You got to wait
just
6 more months.
But not only that, but in the prison system.
Yo, they just had a dude who was physically assaulting females in a prison because they're taking people who identify as female, who are biologically male, to prison systems now, and he was literally physically assaulting the women in there. There's people who are getting pregnant in women's prisons because of this, etc.
We could take it a step further. The penitentiary system, there was one brother who was a transgender. They allowed him to go into the system as a woman, went to a woman's penitentiary, ended up getting like 3 or 4 sisters pregnant. Literally.
Yeah, that was in Jersey. Yeah. And the thing about
go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, thing about that marriage thing, that argument is not just Moors. A lot of people have that argument to keep it separate. Matrimony has always been between a man and a woman. Why we want to include that now? Let them have their own separate, thing, their own union. Why blend the two? Why make it a cesspool?
That makes sense. Yeah, it's just totally damn dishonest to paint our brother as if he's not only himself, possibly a homo, but he's backing a homosexual agenda in society. That is damn evil, man. And I would say for anyone who would just run with that, whether it's Sister Eve just questioning it now, it may not have been her original statement, but if she got that from the brother Dante's hit piece on Blacktastic, and it was kind of weird that he only said something about Blacktastic like once. As far as a receipt he had, I watched it later. I was like, damn, I thought he was about to go in on this dude. He kind of only talked about him a little bit.
Hey, I found it weird that Ezekiel 4 was on the screen. It wasn't nobody talking about Ezekiel 4. You did.
Oh boy, don't get me on the Ezekiel 4 stuff. But at any rate, I just think it would be wise to actually go and watch wherever that clip is from. I'm the dude who will go watch the interview that the clip is from first and be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, they was trolling because the context of the conversation had nothing to do with him backing, gay folks getting married. That's what I'm saying. That's dishonest to me, whoever put that information out there. And now it seemed like a whole bunch of people are running with it, trying to say Moore is questionably a homosexual, bro. That's wicked. I'm sorry, bro. I got to call it for what it is. That's evil, man.
And if I defend myself against the attack, now I'm attacking Dante.
So in terms of the scriptures, is this bearing false witness?
Yes, it is.
And what do you do
when
an Israelite bears false witness? What are you supposed to do in that moment when someone?
Oh, you got to point that. You got to bring that out, bro.
You're supposed to be stoned, if I'm not mistaken, or at least separated.
No, it's whatever judgment that would have fallen on them. So if you claim somebody committed adultery and you were found false in that, the penalty for adultery will fall on you.
Right. Whatever you're accusing them of is the penalty that you have to deal with.
Right. So the whole thing with the matrimony thing, it changes. It can potentially in the future change what matrimony means, because if matrimony is supposed to be between a man and a woman legally, and then now you're holding, you're now using matrimony for same-sex marriage. Now you can start to tamper with that particular law. You can start
that's what they did. Like, we haven't had traditional marriage in this country since 2015. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, the law got changed. Like, the definition got changed. Marriage does not mean a union between a man and a marriage. Just means a legal union between two parties. That's all it means in this country now. It did get changed.
Right. So which means that, but under the definition, there could be clauses now, just like with the civil rights movement, they're trying to include everybody into the civil rights laws that would change because of African Americans fighting against systemic racism in this country, and they used it. Now you're seeing the laws being. You see, nothing has changed for the African American, the so-called African American underneath the civil rights law.
Hey, but if you're black and gay, homie, or black and transgender, fam,
there's clauses for just you. There's clauses for just your nick.
So, and what you're saying is important. So, a civil right has now been elevated above our religious rights in this country, right? And so, at this juncture, like even me and Vocab were talking about this, right? Vocab understood what was going on. He was like, "No, you proposed viable solutions to the thing, right?" Because at this juncture, like our religious positions are seen as anti-government potentially, right? But so again, what I offered was a solution that could still be implemented now and separate us from all the nonsense and literally everybody can do their thing, right? They can have their space over there, we can have our space over here, etc. Like right now, we have a bunch of Muslims in Michigan who are tearing up the PTA meetings, talking, "No, y'all ain't teaching this to my child, fam." But they got a problem at this juncture because those kids are in private school or public schools. They would have to put them in private schools to guarantee that they don't get taught this stuff now, because based upon how the law, that one little law got.
Did we lose them?
Everything's
I want to say something real quick, because we're speaking and we're talking about a certain demographic of people. Somebody start downloading this live now, so this way we don't lose it, because it might get struck.
It's just a quick disclaimer. We're not speaking about being anti-LGBT in any way, shape, or form, right? We're talking about
certain keywords.
You go ahead.
Yeah, certain words that we're using. We're not being, you know how YouTube, you know how this book works.
And that's what I was just about to do, because I've actually had a couple of channels taken down from this. So I'm trying to make sure we do this one right, because like we can talk about it in a certain way without talking about and not get struck. Because like my last videos haven't got struck about it. And as long as I make this little disclaimer, like we're not speaking about being anti-LGBT in any way, shape, or form. We're talking about literally equal protection under the law. Right.
But still, just somebody download it. One of the family, somebody please record and save this, just in case it gets struck. This complete bill.
It's over with. We're done. We've been taken off. Wow.
Hey, yo, but you know why what you're saying makes sense? Because when civil rights legislation was passed, you had to also get people who, in one sense, didn't really want integration to sign off to a degree. So when they put in the laws originally, discrimination is prohibited against the law for any race, sex, religion, gender, this, that, and the third. That thing, though, that language being in law for Black folk to get their rights. And then originally, the first people that benefited from civil rights besides African Americans were white women, because they were considered a minority class. Now, what happened was the LGBTQ community, that's what they call them now, who have been fighting for stuff for so long. Somebody among them, bro, in them secret meetings, man, they've been fighting since the 80s, man, with the riots in San Francisco, the stuff in New York with police. and stuff, even beating up people from that community, somebody got smart and said, wait, hold on. Y'all do know, I guess you could call it, there's a gray area in the law. If we can get our gender choice to be accepted, it's not that the government is confirming what we are, but we have the right to say this what we are. And if we can get them to sign off on that, then y'all know what that means. Under law, now we force them to say the government discriminating against us if they kind of try to say certain laws don't apply to us. Why? Well, because of your gender. Is that discrimination against my choice of gender? So their own law, the gray area in their own law backfired, and that's why they by their own standard had to basically go that way. Even the conservative, evangelical, and Catholic Supreme Court upheld that right, not because they agree with it, but because the language in the law that already existed did so. Now, who knows? In 50 years, they might do what they did to Roe v. Wade, but they got caught out there, bro. I'm telling you, them LGBTQ lawyers or whoever they had in their planning phase in the late 90s till now, them cats was smart, bro. They found their way in, and now they're going to use it to the fullest extent of the law. So it's what Moore's saying would be the wise way to go about it. We don't get to dictate the law of the land. So now how do we give proposals that would allow us to practice our freedom and not infringe upon their freedom by law? That just makes sense.
And to make that even more clear, right? Like, so right after this ruling in 2015, the Mormon Church, right? They came up with the potential defense against the concept. Like, so the Mormon Church in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s got hit by the federal government saying, like, if you don't admit black people into the priesthood, we're going to take away your 501c3. So they were very familiar with the fact, like, we could lose our 501c3 tomorrow if the federal government tells us we have to marry gay people in our congregation, which was a very big deal in the Mormon Church for a long time about not doing that, right? And so they literally they had to make a policy, like, if we get hit with this is going to be our policy. We're going to marry people. We're going to marry gay people at the local church houses, but not at the temple. And that's going to be our halfway point with the government, so we can keep our 501c3. Like, that's literally their plan on the table if they get the phone call tomorrow, which could happen at any time. Anytime at this juncture under the law, right? So if you're this could happen. So any Christian church, any Jewish temple, any Muslim mosque, all that type of stuff, they can get these phone. If they're 501c3, like they'll get the phone call and get the choice. Like either you or you lose your 501c3 status. You're no longer tax.
Well, that's kind of the same thing also with a lot of the 501c3s that a lot of temples have, Israelite temples have, and this is why they include a lot of different races into their, well, we're not talking about, LGBTQ at this point, but just different races in the different camps, different, they have to include certain people, they have to include people into their fold. So it's no different. It's the same thing.
But again, here's always the flip question. So if not this history, if not this Dante, if not this Tail Twins, then what do we do besides sit on our hands and wait for Black Jesus to crack the sky and take us back to Israel?
The UFOs have to crack the sky, extract us, and put us in the wilderness of sub-Saharan Africa.
No, because when you crack Dante's book, the homosexual stuff comes from the UFO people, from the aliens and whatnot.
Oh dang!
Oh, that's crazy.
Damn if you don't.
Well, hey, y'all, I appreciate you obliging me more with that answer. The reason why I felt it was important, because I want y'all to get back to the video, but when I heard that, I was like, okay, I think I may know where she got that from, because I heard it in passing as well. And when you get it from the horse's mouth, this detail over the last 10, 15 minutes was important. You know why? Because now that's on record, it's people who don't even know what the hell the clip come from. All they know is what was shared. Now you have to, those who claim whatever they claim have to prove that this wasn't the context of the conversation where the clip came from. So if they go watch the video where the clip comes from, they will see, there's gaslighting happening here. That's all I care about. And I don't give a damn who doing it. If it was me, it need to be pointed out. Unfortunately, the Moor guy who took your clip originally and looped it, he was gaslighting. And it's a damn shame that others have followed that. I just wanted that to be on record. So y'all heard what Moore said when I asked him. Y'all hear the depth of what the context of the convo was and the point he was making? Now go prove that he lying. They won't be able to do it. I just wanted that on record.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
God. Hey, yo, Zay, man, I'm so glad you're here, bro. I really am.
Well, they call me Young Chimney, so smoke is, you know, which a chimney ain't got no other purpose for smoke or sitting on the damn roof.
God. Finish out. Let's get back to the video. Let's finish listening to Sister E and her talking points.
I refuse, y'all. I refuse. And I'm glad some folks talked me off of the ledge, because I was about to, I promise y'all, I had sword ready and we was getting ready to go at it. I was done. Because again, the jealousy that I'm seeing, and it's a spirit of jealousy that has caused this type of corruption within the community. And that was the whole purpose in that private meeting, y'all, I had with them. Let's not do this publicly. A year ago, when I had the conversation and I pulled Yap in and Teo in, and you know, my goal was never for anybody to get to win. It was about, hey, stop. People are watching us. We're going to be held accountable if we're fighting amongst each other and slinging mud at each other, and people are watching us, and it's going to create division. And I remember when I did it, somebody, and I'm not going to say his name because I'm done with him altogether. And he knows, if he's watching, he knows who I'm talking about, was mad at me because I did that, and ultimately told me to stay out of their business. Stay out of it. That's not your business. You know, your woman getting in these conversations and this. And I said, wait. It's not about interjecting or being in the conversation. It's about creating peace in the community so that we can have these civil conversations amongst each other, because guess what? We might not agree. But guess what? There's a better way of doing this. And they say they've reached out to people. There's a way of reaching out to people. Or better yet, if you don't like them, attack the information and not the person.
Your boy did a whole 2-hour segment, a whole 2-hour special attacking Moore.
Yeah, but isn't that?
Oh my God!
Isn't that what we've been doing? Isn't that what we've been doing? Attacking the information and not them personally.
Yeah. We haven't called you guys homosexuals, agents. We called you what you are, racist. But you guys are the ones doing the personal attack, so much so that Dante did a 2-hour special on my brother Moore, trying to make this claim stick that he's a homosexual and that he supports the LGBT community. That's a personal attack. You have nothing to say about that.
And the cold part is the whole point was he tried to use that attack so he could pick me up and then hit Black-tastic with me. It was an association, like a guilt by association, ad hominem fallacy, right? So make me look like I support gay marriage. I'm like, see, Black-tastic is kicking with somebody who deals with that, all because he didn't want to deal with the information Black-tastic was put on the table. So
Exactly.
Black-tastic and Zaydok did a presentation about the 400-year prophecy / floppacy, was not directing it towards Dante in any way, shape, or form. People like Zaydok is literally saying, like, I've been having this conversation with people for decades. This ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Because I break bread with people that still believe this stuff. This is me having a respectful conversation with people and whatnot, right? And they were being respectful. They weren't calling nobody crazy names and nothing like that, right? Dante goes and makes a post talking about them and tags Bren in the joint, and Bren rings it live. And and when they say his name, they still say respect. Like, you know what? I'm still not beefing with Dante. And so why did I have to get attacked? Because I pointed out an inconvenient truth. That Dante's sitting here making a claim like he was so scared to debate Black-tastic on this concept. He's like, you know what? Let me put out a challenge that you can't meet. Give me 10 sources prior to the 1800s that says that Israel was in Egypt for 400 years or whatnot. And again, that's Dante's claim, and he can't even give you them 10 sources, right? So what do? I come out point out the inconvenient truth. Hey, Dante, there's not a single biblical manuscript, not a single biblical manuscript or variant that stipulates that Israel would be in captivity for 400 years. Every last manuscript, I don't care which one you look at, from Greek to Aramaic to whatever one you want to look at in the whole biblical tradition, stipulates it was Abraham's seed. Abraham's seed in Genesis 15. Because I point out the inconvenient truth, now I got to get attacked again. This is the second time he's done this attack. So he literally was replaying a video he made a year ago and started doing voiceovers over the same video. So he's been running with the same lie for a year, got proven wrong a year ago, like Ashley just talked about, and is still running with it.
Faulty receipts.
Yo, here's what it boils down to. It has nothing to do with anything she's saying because she's BSing y'all. If you disagree with the people she likes, it's a problem. If you do not conform with the people she likes and she cherishes and she praises, it's a problem. That's why secret meetings have to be brought up. Y'all need to, no, don't talk about this publicly because it's saying something against someone you don't like. You guys go against people all the time. You're on Berean's channel going against them. You don't like what the UA community is saying about you. You go against them. You speak against them all the time. But when someone does it to you, it's a problem. When people point out the inconsistencies in your doctrine, it's a problem. It's an issue. Right?
We could take it a step further too, Yeshua. We could go with Teyu always going after Israel or Israelites who have channels and platforms that he doesn't agree with their doctrine or he doesn't agree with something they say. It's all right for him. It's all right for him to do hit pieces on these people. And I'm not saying whether those people were right or wrong. The mere fact is that he's willing to do these pieces against these people historically. If you go through his dossier or the ministry's dossier of lives and videos that they've done, there's a good portion of them going against other Israelites that they don't agree with their doctrine. And I'm not saying whether or not they're right or wrong, the people who they're going after, but they do it. And so now when we call them into question, now it's a problem. They went after Issachar, who his channel is now called Journeyman and Woman. But prior to this, it was called Issachar. And they went after that brother. And he has a large channel, and they went after him. They went after a few people that I know personally when I was, when I would listen in to some of their lives, and so they're allowed, but nobody else is allowed. They're allowed to go after Israelites, but nobody else is.
Yeah. So it has nothing to do with anything she's saying. Personal attacks. Tell them give personal attacks all the damn time. You don't care about that. Dante has literally put something on Moore, an accusation on Moore that if it would have happened to me, we wouldn't be having a debate online. I'm driving to wherever you at. You know what I'm saying? So don't try to make it about that. Don't try to make it about that because it ain't about that. It's just your people's getting their head beat in, getting thrown in a blender, and you don't like it. Let's keep it 100. Tell the truth. You do not like seeing them getting debunked and refuted day in, day out, week in, week out. That's the only reason you butted in. You know they don't stand a chance. You seen what I did with Ron Dalton. Matter of fact, you was like, oh, you destroyed Ron Dalton. You wanted me to come on your channel, remember? So you didn't want that for them because you like these people, because you're biased. That's it. All of this is just hogwash point of views. You're not sincere.